Hello, infidels. Hello again. I have bad quality because this lightning not good, but what is important, I'm back from India, and what I find out that really happened, that what became a truth, is that really happened that John F. Closer was awarded on 10th of December before 3 days by Nobel Prize for quantum entanglement works, which means not only those things they are talking about in what it really means. If two particles is possible to entangle, and by changing the state of one particle change the state of the entangled particle, no matter how far those particles are. This means only one thing. Usability is something else. For what it could be used is something else, but it's not important thing. The important thing is that after 50 years of his work, he proved that we really live in a simulated reality, that this world is really only the illusion. We knew that from Hinduism, of course, but there's not much people which have a real experience to know that this is true. And the visions which you have by calling the deities are really ancient and scary. So these, especially the visions of the god, are really scary. But of the Mahadeva. But what is important, that what's for sure, what you will see and know from it, is that this world is really run by a huge intelligence, really huge intelligence. So big and huge intelligence that no one can even imagine, because it's something which was here from always. No, there is no one who can remember when it began. That this intelligence was here from always means that the intelligence always existed, but only wasn't aware by itself that it exists. When this intelligence became aware of the self, of the existence of the self, after a long, long time, this intelligence started to making another from his autonomous point of view of the intelligence, of the autonomous intelligence point, created new beings in a non-physical form. And those beings were, let's say, artificial intelligence, which means that they were programmed by this first existent intelligence, which is everywhere. If you look at the quantum field, which is something which was already created, so the quantum field didn't existed before, it's a created thing. It's the thing created on the basis of creation of itself. But it's not what I want to talk about here, because I was about to talk about that quantum entanglement and how great and significant step in humanity this is, because this is not only something like we just went on the moon, which is not even the truth, but it doesn't matter. It's not like we made. It's something like we were able to create a wheel. More than that. But for the advance of the humanity, this is more than the wheel creation. This is much more than the step on the moon, which didn't happen, but it doesn't matter. Some people believe that. So this is much more. This is the most important thing which could happen, because when there was awarded a Nobel Prize for quantum entanglement, this means that there is a really big number of scientists who were able to admit that the quantum theory is not only a theory, that it's the truth. And when they were able to admit this, that means that they admitted that we really live in a predeterministic simulation of the world. Why is that like this? When you read some scientific articles, you will see there in those articles that this can be used for cryptography. Of course it can. That this can be used in many industrial ways. Of course it can. How it's important for human lives. Of course it is. But no one will explain you what it really means. The quantum entanglement, in fact, and no matter how complex is the explanation in those scientific articles, easily said, not scientifically explained, but in a few words, easily said. What that means is that you have, everyone knows, I will make it for the total beginners to be able to understand. Everyone, even the monkey, if it's able to understand the language. Everyone knows from the basic school that this world is from the atoms. It's created from atoms. Everything is from atoms. Not only the things like stone or other matter, which is not a living thing, but also enzymes, which are the basic matter for creating a life, amino acids, and from it everything which is alive. Everything is from atoms, and we know that. From the basic school, we know this because it's proved. We are not only able to perceive the atomic field by our senses because not even our eyes are much perfect. We need microscopes and other things to be able to see little things which exists beneath our eyes. So we don't see how we are built in a fact, but what's the most important thing is that we know already today, thanks to Large Hadron Collider, that those atoms are built from quarks. A little, much more little particles than the atoms are, because the atoms from proton, electron, neutron are also built from the other particles. And in fact, the particles with the lowest matter are neutrinos and photons. Technically, I will not go into the details because it's not important. But technically, it means that when you will imagine that there are two types of particles, basic particles, neutrinos, which are able to go through every matter. There is no any obstacle which neutrino cannot pass. Because of that, it's neutrino. It's neutral to everything. It passes everything, every matter. So let's say that this is the thing which holds one type, the basic type of the element of the driving intelligence of this universe, and not only of this universe, but for this time, let's say for of this universe. And we have here the second particle, which is the light, the photon. Thanks to double slit experiment, we have here also proof that the photons are able to act in two types of behavior. One is that they act as a wave, which is normal, for example, for the water. When you drop there the stone, it will make the wave. When you place some obstacle there, the wave will change, as you know it from a real life. And the same way, light is acting. But there's second type of acting of the light, which is the single particle. There are also today existing lasers which are able to emit light in single particles. And why I'm talking about this, I was about to talk about that quantum entanglement. But what's important that on the double slit experiment you will be able to see the difference of the basic, let's say, basic physical basic particle of the physical construction of the world. How can be light the basic? It doesn't have a matter even so. How can be the light the basic building particle is something which I will I will talk about this later to make it sense. But watch the experiments with double slit experiment to be able to imagine what I will talking about for better imagination, because otherwise you won't be able to perceive correctly what is this world. I will return to neutrinos and photons later. Now it's needed to say the second thing. When you entangle two particles, doesn't matter how it's technically done. I can explain it also, but it's not important now. The important thing is that it's possible. It's possible and it was done and it was proved that it works. And the Nobel Prize, the awarding someone by the Nobel Prize of this or for this is something incredible, because the scientists admit that this world, this way, couldn't be real. Of course, it's real for you, for your awareness. You are aware of this world, so it's real for you, for your existence. It's also real for me. If someone will come and shoot me to my head, I will die. My body will die. So from this point of view, it's very real. But it's not what I mean. It's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about and what I mean is that when you entangle you two particles, you make them the way that when one particle changes their state, for example, the rotation from up down to down up, the second particle which were down up will become up down. It's, for example, like the magnets. North Pole and North Pole will make the magnets go away from themselves, and South Pole and North Pole will pull them together. In a quantum entanglement, when one particle is with spin up and the second is down. When we watch the state of the first it changes to down, and the second one, which was entangled with the first one, changes from the down to up. And the experiment was made far more complex, but this is for the easy understanding. It's used as analogy for easy explanation for to be able to understand how it works. What's important what's important on this is that this change of those particles is not dependent on the distance. It's not dependent how far they are from the selves. This is something which is totally crazy when you see it from normal perspective of the human being which is doing his everyday everyday work. Why what you know from the physics from the basic school that the fastest thing on this world are the photons, is the light created by the photons. You know that this is 300,000 kilometers. So there couldn't be anything faster than the light, isn't it? Or it could. When you have the distance far enough and you measure the time of the change of the particle B dependent on the changed state of the particle A, the state of particle B changes in no time dependently on the particle A. So, no matter how far they are, let's say those two particles will be 300,000 kilometers away. It will take the light a little time to travel this distance from point A to point B. But when the light will start from the point A and will travel to point B, and in the time of the start at the point A, the particle will change its state. There is point B, there is point A. On the point A, will the particle change the state from down up to up down? On the second point B, will the particle change the state from down to up? But it will take some time for the light to travel this distance. And when the light will come here, it will find out that the particle already changed the state, that it's in the state which was awaiting that it will be. These particles changes the state in no time. There is no latency between the change of the state. And it doesn't matter how far they are. It doesn't matter if the light will fly from point A to B 1 second or 1 hour. It doesn't matter how far they are. It could be 1 light year. If those particles will be away from the self 1 light year, it means that the light will travel this distance for a period of 1 year, 365 and a half and quarter days. It's a really long time for something fast as the light. And anyway, the light will travel this distance for this long period of time. But the change of the state of the particle from the starting point of the light will have influence on the second particle, which was entangled with the first particle in no time. It will change immediately. How is this possible? For this is only one explanation, which is nowhere told about. And this explanation is, of course, that this must be simulation. Why simulation? Simulation because everything is preset. So it means that it already happened before. So it was planned for the particles that the particle B will change its state when the particle A will change its state. That they will be dependent this way. Or there's one more explanation, and this is that we live in a 2D space, technically in a holographic space, because when you see the hologram, you see the depth of the hologram. But there is no depth in the hologram. It's only surface. It's only optical illusion. Same way as when you go in the theater and you see a movie. It's 2D. But when you wear the glasses, you see it 3D. Because there's double time of the 2 times more pictures by the same amount of time compared to a normal movie. And let's say normally there's 30 pictures, but in 3D movie you have 60 pictures. And those glasses are working the way that by one eye you see 30 pictures which are made to look as far, and with the second one you see the 30 pictures which are made to be seen as close, and it makes for you the depth of the perception of the depth of the movie you see. But the movie is still 2D, and there are only polarizing filters which are covering your one and second eye synchronized to the movie. That's the whole magic. So when your senses will be by the nature made, by their nature means by the huge intelligence which created this universe. when your senses will be made by the way, by that way that they will see this way the world around. The world can be a holographic 2D space, but you will be still able to perceive the depth of the space. Everything you are able to perceive is only in yourself. You always see by your eyes, not by anyone's eyes, by your eyes. You hear by your ears, not by anyone's ears. You feel by your skin, not by anyone's other skin. You taste by your tongue, not anyone's tongue. And when you didn't had COVID, you still have a sense of smell. And it's your sense of smell, not anyone else. But the sense of the smell could be turned off by the change of the mRNA, RNA, mRNA code of your DNA. And it could turn off your smell. Why could some virus, why could one, why won't some virus turn off your smell? Probably because the virus doesn't want you to be able to smell what you are eating in a fast food. So we are for sure living in a simulated reality. For normal people which doesn't have experience other or normal with this could be something like nonsense. Even when the scientists tell this, many people will say, it's some bullshit. It's, the scientists, they are talking about nonsenses. And then the man will took his 5G Apple mobile phone and talk with someone else in the second half of the world, not thinking about that was those crazy scientists which were at the beginning of the creation of his mobile phone. Because many people think that facilities like Large Hadron Collider are nonsense. That it's for nothing. It costs only billions, and what is from it? From those things came a knowledge which works the way that some people have a vision. This vision could be from anyone, anything, higher intelligence or themselves, call it as you want. It, it does work the way what you believe in. So These people have a vision and they need to prove it some way. And those facilities are here for the possibility to make the proof of the existence in a physical form, are here for the made the proof that what was told that it could be real is really real. And now we have a real proof from a young scientist which was only 30 years old, which is incredible that he was able in 30 years achieve something complex like this. For people which doesn't know why he was able to achieve this must be really astonishing. For those who know why is this possible, they just know that it's possible because he was picked for this and he did that. And he doesn't need to be aware of it even so. So we have the proof. The proof existed for 50 years. But after 50 years, the other scientists admitted that it's true by the observation what they did, by the measurements what they did, by the other teams which were working on that also and were able to commit that this proof was real, that it was something which really exists. And thanks to that, humanity can go on the next level of the evolution. This is something which wasn't here for thousands of years. No one is able to imagine how important this is. Incredibly important this is. Coming of Jesus was not so important and as this is. I would like to say that this is at least same importance as coming of Krishna. At least. Because now the science world which drives the advance of technology, of this existence, admitted that there exists something which is quicker than the light. And it means two things. First, that Einstein was wrong. It's really a shame because I love this man. I like his work and his brilliant mind. But it means that even Einstein, even Einstein was wrong. Even him. It's a big disappointment for my old self, but great blissfulness for my new one. And the second thing which it means is that the dark is always faster than the light. Sorry, Kali. It's like that. It's it's like that. The dark is always faster than the light. And this is something which many scientists will have to take into their minds and will need to count with it, because when you will be able to be aware how this works, you will be able to be aware of the whole creation and the way how this whole creation works. So, this is all for today.